Hey everybody, how you doing? It's just going to be Dirk tonight with some special guests. We have Amanda B joining us. How you doing, Amanda?
Hello, I'm doing well.
Great, we're
Thanks for
glad to
the
have
invite.
you. You're welcome. Always a pleasure. And we also have Jim Tanner, the creator of Dig Two Graves.
Hello,
Hello, Jim.
everybody. How's it going?
Nice of you to join us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So today, because we don't have Kevin here, we're just going to kind of fly by the seat of our pants. It should be a lot of fun. But, we're going to introduce a few things. I have a big reveal today.
Ooh, a big
Hello, Dean.
reveal.
How you doing?
Dean!
Yeah. How you doing, Dean? We have Von Stugel in here.
Hail the Mo.
Oh, awesome. Man, I got to keep up with this. It's kind of hard by yourself. So we just want to welcome the chat here tonight. Thank you guys for joining in. I really appreciate you guys coming in and seeing us.
And Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy's here. All right. I'm not sure. This may be his first time popping in. So I'm glad to have you. Yeah, we have some reveals tonight, some updates for our comic for Ballad of the Celestials. We've been getting some things colored. And I think, Amanda, you may have seen the one cover that we were doing, the homage cover.
Yes, I have seen that. You shared it a couple times. You shared it, I think, last week, and then there was a reveal maybe a couple weeks before that.
Yeah, so we've been having a couple pages colored, and it was funny because last week Kemosabe was on here, and we've asked him to do some editing for our book, and he's graciously accepted to do some of that. And we were talking about the colors of our pages, and he started naming who the colors could look like, and he nailed our colorist. Like, we didn't even tell him who it was, and he just, boom, he had it down, which is Dio Lima in Brazil, and he's a great colorist. And so I want to share with everybody what this looks like.
Kemosabe is a smart guy.
Yeah, he is. He's great. He was a lot of fun. So, okay, here we go. Is everybody ready for this? I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Drum roll?
Yeah. Oh, I went ahead and did it, so I hope you see it.
I see it.
Can you see it?
I see it.
Awesome. Okay.
And it looks much better colored, to tell you. Not like it looks great colored, because I'm like, before I couldn't quite make out all the action that was going on, but the coloring definitely brings that all out.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you, Amanda. That's great. Thank you, Jeremy. That's really a great thing. Amanda's the one who brought this book and channel to my attention, really liking the art, and this one is officially on my list to back. That's really cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, let me get in here and look at this, zoom in a little bit. This is an homage to Mike Zeck, and I think I've talked a little bit about it, but yeah, you're right. The color really brought a lot of depth to the picture. It's got a dynamite background to it, and his choice of color really pops for me. So I'm really happy with it. And then we added the title in, which is fun, and it's got the classic look to it, and I think it just finishes it off in such a way that, man, it's so fun. So I'm really happy with it. I don't know if we could have gotten any better with that. He just did a great job. So I'm really happy with Dio.
I really dig it. It's really awesome looking.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah.
Now, Jim, do you have a big background with comics, like the history and creators and writers, and like, would you look at this and be able to tell like what time period this comic would come from and who the homage is to?
Yeah, my background, I mean, I've been reading them since I was a kid, but when it comes to like specific names, I'm always the worst at that. But I mean, I would say like 80s this reminds me late 70s, that time frame. But the specific artist, no, unless it was who used to do Conan back in the day.
Okay. The reason why I asked, I'm new. I've only been into comics since like October when I got introduced to Comicsgate. So my knowledge is pretty much just the here and now with CG. So that's why I asked, just to see where your background came from.
Yeah. Just an old comic book nerd from back in the day.
That's cool. I mean, I grew up reading some Mike Zeck and actually mimicking some of Mike Zeck's covers whenever I was a little kid. And I thought, man, what a great artist to do an homage to. Not to mention, some of his covers are just my favorite of all time. And so it's a Wolverine versus Captain America cover is what this really is. And the blue of the beast and the colors on our hero, it matches the actual original cover. So it's really fun that he did this. You know, in my opinion, he just nailed it. I don't know what else to say. I'm kind of speechless about it because it's just so fun and cool to look at. So I'm glad everybody's really liking it too.
Yeah,
we got
lucky on mine
Snuggie.
with the coloring. I get a lot of people comment on it, and for me, I don't see colors as well. So I'm like, I'm glad everybody loves it, because for me, it's like I kind of see them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, Oliver, how you doing? So glad you could join us. Yeah. So, you don't see color very well. So is that like an issue for you? You have to have people tell you, or is it just?
No, like you know, I was specifically red-green colorblind, and then just certain colors just don't really pop to me, I guess is how to say it.
Okay.
So I'll just kind of not notice some of the different. Like I had different colors on my book originally, and I was like, I think it looks good. And then other artists were like, no, you don't see this. I'm like, no. So,
oh man.
Yeah, I have to take my artist's word for it in that case.
Well, that's good. I mean, you know, that's about trusting your team too, man. I mean, I don't think that's a big deal. You got to overcome those boundaries. I know as I'm getting older, I'm wearing my glasses. I'm not seeing as good. Without these things, I wouldn't be able to do anything. So, got to have your eyes.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm so glad everybody joined us tonight. That's awesome.
Hey, before we move over, do you have dates for your stuff? Like, do you know when you're doing the mailing list and a potential launch, or not yet?
Yeah, so Kevin and I are getting ready to set all this up. We pushed it back because once we looked at getting an editor, we really thought that we would do it last month. And then we were like, oh man, this month came up fast. I went on vacation. Things just kind of got out of whack. And I thought, no, let's hold off, because if we don't start things very soon, we're going to be running into the holiday season. And I think what we're going to do is start at the end of this month or October, and then let the year ride out with the mailing list. And then maybe at the end of January, actually, you know, launch the campaign. So
you could launch January 1st and be the #1 book for like income for like, you know, a day or two or
for
four,
a day or two,
however long until somebody beats you out.
Of course. That would be cool.
That's how Call Me Mark did it with what was the novel? Yeah. He specifically did it just so he could say, you know, he was like #1 for however long he was. It was pretty funny.
Wow. Elbow cough, elbow cough, elbow cough. So Snuggie's got some elbow coughing going on here. So I don't know. You know, I don't care. I would be happy to launch tomorrow, but I know that we want to try to build as much as we can. So I mean, that's part of the issue, is feeling it out. I mean, all this is so new to me, and I'm going, okay, what do we do? And the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm going, man, we still have a lot of work to do. Little things, not the art for the book is all done. The inking is all done. Now it's just getting the colors done. We have to get lettering, and then getting it printed, of course, to fulfill. But there's like little tiny pieces of art that are needing to be tweaked and things like that. So it's just, you know, it adds up to be a lot, but we're on our way. So that's
great.
A cool thing. Yeah.
Now, just to point out, Jim, Oliver from 656 asked if you could see neon colors. That is a joke. I'm not sure how familiar you are, but a book came out called $4.99. It was actually shown to be with different color palette, but when it got released, it was literally neon colors: neon green, neon purple, neon blue, and a hot pink. those are like the 4 colors was like a black and then a flesh tone. The whole book was done in that, and it's like a joke now is about neon colors. So that's why they're asking.
That's really cool.
I'm learning there's a lot of inside jokes with all the
Oh,
groups.
there are so many,
What is it?
Yeah.
Crack Party, I think, was one I just learned about, and I've heard that phrase quite a bit, or something to that one.
Crack Pack?
Yeah, that's it. And I was like,
yeah.
What? So I'm slowly learning as I
go. There is a lot.
There's a lot of
You'll
Crack
get with
Pack.
it though.
Oh yeah, we had some Crack Pack in here. Every now and then they'll stop by, drop it, and they'll say, bow every day, things like that. No
I think
cowards.
half your chat now is Crack Pack.
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, you're right. They are. You're right.
Yeah, I learned because I come from. I've always done Kickstarters. This is my first time really going the Indiegogo route, and yeah, it's a totally different audience. I'm learning, so learning as you go is always fun. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get to know people. It's really cool. The one thing I like about the Comicsgate community, I was welcomed right away. And started getting in on the chats and just had a great time. Got to know a lot of people, and I still love to go on their streams even now. I have so many streams I can't keep up. Amanda, I don't know how you do it because I know you're on more than I am. So
I get notifications for like everybody that I am aware of. I don't.
Do you ever feel like you just have to back out and be like, okay, I need a break?
At times, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'll peek in and I'll lurk for a bit, and if it's not holding my interest, sometimes I'll move on to something else, or I'm like, okay, time to read a comic book, or
sure.
Clean the house, because that does need to be done at some point in time.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, for me it's more like, okay, I just need to get out of comic mode. I feel like it's in my head all the time and I'm pushing every day. So I'm like, okay, need a like a mental break. I need to watch a movie instead of a stream. And then I'll come back to it.
I don't find these all to be comic books. Sometimes it's like, you're popping into a chat and you're just hanging out with friends,
Yeah.
Not always is there stuff going on with comic book or comic selling, usually.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oliver says
more chats I've been on like that. I've seen that too, where people just having those straight up conversations. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with that.
Yep.
I would like to do that more. I feel like I don't have enough time to do that sometimes. So Oliver says, we like to have fun, Jim. People go a little bit crazy sitting at the drawing table 24/7. No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm always usually got something going on story-wise, either writing it or thinking on it. And like you said, you got to step away from it every so often.
Yeah. Mental health breaks, man. Got to have it.
Jim is #just a writer.
Right. Yes. Another inside joke, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. So, okay, Jim, I think we want to start sharing your Dig 2 graves. So, Amanda really is the one that brought this up to me. I think you shared it on Twitter.
Yeah. Yep. No, I ended up coming across it through an email of another campaign that I backed. It was like an update. I think the final Indiegogo updates where they tell you how much a certain campaign has raised. So it was something else that I pledged. And then I thought it was the creators of that campaign that suggested it. But now that I think back, I think it was just Indiegogo suggesting it. But I looked at it,
wow.
And the story sounded pretty cool, like different. The art looked really good. So I'm looking at it, and I ended up backing it. I was actually backer number 5.
Oh.
And then,
really cool.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks later, he was on Joe Catapano's stream. And I'm like, hey, I'm glad to see him making the rounds. And then that's when I shared it out because he hadn't met goal at that time. And I was like, I really want to see this at least make goal. And it wasn't long after that thankfully he made goal. And it sounds like he got in touch with a few other people, which is great.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. Amanda's been super helpful helping getting the word out. So
yeah, she's a good one, man. Once you get her on your book, she can put it right out there to everybody. It's fantastic.
I'm #just a fan. I'm really good at cheerleading.
Yeah, it's a totally different audience trying to find people for Indiegogo than it was for Kickstarter. So I was definitely a little bit over my head when I came into this one because I was using what I used for Kickstarter and it just doesn't quite work the same. But thankfully,
Right.
if I understand it, it sounds like one of the cross promotions I did with some of the other books and artists. It looks like it got your attention that way. I've done it with a couple here on Indiegogo now. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good, man. Let's look at it. Let me get it up here. I gotta stop sharing what I was already sharing. Hold on.
Yeah, and you're almost at 4 figures.
yeah,
Really?
yeah, we're hoping
Yeah.
to hit 1,000 hopefully before Wednesday is the goal, which I guess is tomorrow now. I already lost track of the week, so
Yep, that would be
Awesome.
tomorrow.
So there it is. Yeah, we'll get to the trailer in a minute. I don't think I'm going to do the trailer right away. We'll get to that after we look at some other stuff. But the artwork does look really good on it, man.
yeah, I
Liking
lucked
that.
out with my art team. They're just spectacular. So the main artist does the pencils and the inks is Von Randall. Got the colors by Kevin DeCastro, and then the cover actually is done by the main cover. It was done by Wilton Santos. I think he's working on Star Wars right now for Marvel, one of their series of Star Wars books.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Awesome. So you have some legit artists going on up here. Okay, that's great.
yeah, I've been lucky. Some of the guys I've had variant art and variant covers for, I catch them right before they click with somewhere, and then they start doing stuff for DC, and I'm like, well, they got priced out, but I got one from them. So
Wow.
That works.
yeah,
Well, I was going to say, how do you catch them beforehand?
just find artists that I think look really good and say, hey, you taking work, and then I luck out sometimes.
You
Is
just
it
get
via
lucky with the
Facebook
timing.
or is it via? Some people do. I don't know what the website is, but other people is it demonic art? No, deviant art.
DeviantArt.
Deviant art. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think for the most part, everybody I found has been through Facebook, and then I'll usually go if they have a DeviantArt or like an Instagram. I'll go
Mhm.
check out their links to see their other stuff because some
Nice.
people will have like one piece of art that looks amazing, and the rest like, hey, that doesn't look like the rest of your stuff, and then you got to wonder. So, but if they're consistently, amazing with everything they do, then yeah, I'll reach out to them, and it's hit or miss. Some people are busy or they just don't respond. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, really, to be honest, as an artist, it was hard for me too, and I think that's one thing that worries me a lot whenever people see my book. Is you can see that I kind of level up as the book goes, and I'm afraid that people are going to be like, oh my gosh, and then at the end it'll look really good. I want the whole thing to look good, but you just want that consistency every time you have a book coming out.
yeah. And so for this one, the first book, we originally started this campaign, J2 Graves #1. I want to say it was like 2018. It was a few years back, and it was a totally different artist who did the first book. And I liked his work well enough, but unfortunately, he couldn't meet deadlines, and there was a huge delay from when we funded to when we actually were able to get the book out. Like they would just disappear for huge chunks of time. So yeah, for consistency's sake, I had to go ahead and get my artist to redo the new artist, Von Randall, redo all of book 1 just to keep everything consistent. So now book 1 and book 2 are both matching the same art, different, same colors, everything. So
Nice.
I get you on that one, but it's an expensive experience, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now tell us a little bit about not the story, but so on Kickstarter you did book 1 successfully. You did book 2 successfully, although I think there was a failed campaign in the first time. Am I having the right one?
So the first Kickstarter, like I said, was like 2018 for the first book with the different artists. That was successful. Got printed eventually, and then was shipped out, all that good stuff. I wanted to move into book 2, like I said. Then I had to switch teams because of the delay problems.
Nice.
So we restarted book 2, and then I rushed it to Kickstarter. I think I had like 4 pages, maybe. No color, nothing. And yeah, we came up a little bit short. I think the goal was like 5,000 at that point, and we hit like 38, maybe close to 4. So I figured, all right, this time I just wanted to have the book ready. So for book 2, I made sure it was actually completed before we went to Kickstarter. The only thing wasn't done at that point was lettering, but that was pretty minor. So that was the big difference. And then so the other one was successful. And that one was just for the floppies, and then a whole lot of variants, things like that. And I'd been talking to people as I did more YouTube shows, or podcasts. They're like, "Have you ever done Indiegogo? It's pretty fun. They have like a store option." And I was like, "No, I know of it. I hadn't used it." And I was like, "Well, I want to try it." So that's kind of why I brought it here. But for this one, I wanted to try something different, just because I had just done the Kickstarter, so I didn't want people necessarily thinking I was trying to double dip on them. So I made this one just the graphic novel of book 1 and 2, and then kept the rewards more simple, just poster sets. But knowing now what I know it's like almost two different audiences. I didn't realize there was a pretty big section of people who will only buy on Kickstarter and people who will only buy on Indiegogo. So
yeah, I was going to say, I think the debate has been, do you go for both sites? And I think people have found out that Kickstarter isn't very supportive of our group, for one thing, but for the most part, if you're able to do that, you are finding two different audiences, so you're really not double dipping at all.
Yeah, and knowing that now, moving forward, I think the next campaigns will probably just be, I don't know if I'll do them simultaneously, because that seems like that might pull away from each other, but there won't be maybe as big of a difference on what's offered, so both sides feel like they're getting comparable stuff. But this side, Indiegogo is still going to get, we just unlocked the first stretch goal, and I already got other goodies I'm just going to toss in as well. So they're still getting plenty of stuff, and they're getting the graphic novel version, which I'm pretty excited about. That's actually I don't have time for floppies as much, but I get the trade paperbacks, and I'll read those when they come out. So that's kind of where I'm at in life at the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. That's a decision we had to make too, is like how big our book is going to be. I think it's probably going to benefit you that you have 80 pages. I think people are really going to be able to enjoy the story. A lot of people want a bigger story to read at one time. So,
yeah, I know I do.
Yeah, the first books I started writing, my first self-published stuff was in the mid to late 2000s. And yeah, I learned then that it's easier for me to write them a little bit longer. One, I'm just, I like to write. But I knew that, indie comics are going to price higher no matter what. I mean, you can do your best to keep them close to Marvel, but you just don't have that kind of power. So I try to get more bang for my buck. And all my books always come in at a minimum of 40, usually to 42 pages.
Okay.
That's good, though.
It is good. It's one thing that, oh man, that's something that Kevin and I have been discussing, is like, should we add more pages? Right now we're at 27, and I think we may get up to 32. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's just the way it plays out. And I think whenever we first started developing the comic, we were thinking, no, a floppy's only 22 pages. So if we do 27, that's bigger anyway. Well, then once we got on Indiegogo, we started getting into Comicsgate. We were realizing everybody's doing 40, 60. They're doing like 80 page books.
Oh, wow.
We're like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. So yeah, I think it varies for a lot of people.
Yeah, in that comic, that I see that. I can see the higher turnaround. I mean, if you're one of the bigger guys, like since I've been on Indiegogo, I've noticed like Ethan Van Sciver pulls in pretty big numbers on his book. I would assume for that he could have a higher turnaround and probably kick out a smaller book if he wants to get it going faster. But yeah, I think for us, a bigger book at least maybe can hold people over the longer period of time it takes us to produce it.
Yeah, and Jeremy here, Lord Crackhead, he agrees. A lot of people have been saying this lately. We're getting good books, but it sucks waiting a whole year or more for the next issue. So the 80 plus page books are really starting to look more appealing. Yeah, and that's, man, I hate hearing that, and I understand it all at the same time as a creator, because it's like, oh my gosh, how can we put out our next book? And I think that's the biggest obstacle we have coming towards us. Once we get our book launched, it's going to be like, okay, now how are we going to keep it going? So.
And that's the thing I work with, is because for this book, it's planned for 12 issues only. That's the complete story, so it'll have a conclusion. But as you know, with indie comics, it's hard to always get that next one out. Whereas if it was just all include story in one book, it's a little bit easier to wait for the next one. So it's kind of that battle you got to deal with all the time.
Yeah, it's not fun to wait for a turnaround time of a year plus for a conclusion that you read a year ago.
Yeah, you lose interest, and then you're also like, wait, what was the story like again?
Right, you got to reread when the new one comes out.
which sucks. But,
which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but
it's not. It's really not.
Yeah, but if you're like me with boxes and boxes of long boxes full of old comics, and then I got boxes of the graphic novels I store. Eventually, you got to go back through them and go, wait, where was that? I need to reread it again. So
Yeah, man, the art's looking really good, man. I really like this.
So that is one of the. It was a variant cover on the Kickstarter, but I used it here as a print we're giving away with each graphic novel.
Oh, okay.
And that particular one was done by Aaron Bartling. He's doing Ronin, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series right now, doing the covers for that. Or some variant covers for it. So yeah, I got him before he started doing that, so that was cool. But yeah, so that was a popular one on Kickstarter. But at the time he made that Kickstarter exclusive, so I was like, well, I can't offer that as a cover, but I can make it a free print. So
okay, yeah, that's cool. And he's doing some kick-ass work on that Ronin series. So
yeah,
I've seen some of the stuff on that.
I think he's just doing the covers. I don't think he's doing any of the pencils. So
from what I've seen, I think what I've seen, they put out at least a few things, right? A few pieces of art for it. I don't think it was the interiors I was seeing for it, but man, I was loving it.
Yeah, it's. I haven't read anything Ninja Turtles in probably over a decade. So, but yeah, the series is looking pretty neat. I'll have to definitely check that one out.
Now the poster sets that you can see there, were those variant covers on Kickstarter, or just people that you got a print for, and now you're just offering prints? Like, were these used elsewhere besides prints?
So yeah, so the first one, the far left, the colorful one, that was a variant. The next to that wasn't actually offered through the Kickstarter. I think it's going to just be a print. The one in the middle was a poster, but it wasn't a variant cover. And then the other two, one is a variant, and the other one's a poster. So it's kind of a mix and match.
Yeah, I think they're gorgeous. They're different styles, but they're gorgeous. I like the fact that it's all different styles.
And
I like that too.
I reach out to the artist and I'm basically like, hey, I like your style. Take this character, and give it to me in your style. I give them very little direction. Other than, sometimes they want is this an action or is this normally I'm just like, I like what you did here, do something similar, and they just go with it. So yeah, and I like just a good mix and match. So yeah, you got the sexy stuff, you got the kind of fun cartoony stuff, you got the I love the one in the middle, Vincent Venticola. He does like a portrait stuff. He's really amazing with that.
Yeah, I really like that. Some of it's kind of painterly and the other's more, traditional comic. Yeah, I love the contrast to that.
So lots of different stuff. Most of the variant covers we did for the Kickstarter, I didn't bring those over yet. I was kind of debating whether to or not. So depending on, where we go with stretch goals, if things pick up more, I might be more inclined to bring those over for other people if they're really interested. But for now, I don't know. I was kind of debating what all I should bring over and what I should keep for Kickstarter while I was kind of setting this up.
I know there are some people that back on Indiegogo that Kickstarter leaves a very sour taste in their mouth, that they don't really want anything associated with Kickstarter. So it might even be okay if you didn't offer a lot of the same stuff, but they do like the fact that if you offer something specifically for Indiegogo and not anywhere else.
Yeah, well, if it matters at this point, those prints were only offered in that set for Indiegogo.
Right.
So there was no print sets or anything like that and there was no graphic novel either for the Kickstarter.
And it's cool that they're all 11 by 17, right?
So there's two choices. There's the mini size or the 11 by 17 size. So I gave people the option if they actually wanted the big kind of Comic-Con standard size, or if they just wanted something smaller, I think it's about the size of the comic. I always forget the dimensions.
That's very nice.
So yeah,
it's really cool they get the options for that. I like that.
Yeah, because I have so many 11 by 17s. I go to a Comic-Con, I'm like, I'm not spending any money, and then I walk out with bags of prints and everything else. So
yeah. Okay, so you can also cami in a future Dig 2 Graves book.
Yes, sir. So there's two options for that, one each. That seems like that's pretty standard for most, I think, campaigns, or at least it was. I guess I haven't maybe seen it in a few lately, but There's two options. You have the speaking role, which is the more expensive of the two, where you can be. I always, when I write ahead, I leave a few characters vague. So if somebody picks this, they have the choice, like, hey, I want to be a good guy, or I want to be shot, or something. So they can have their choice. Then I can get them in there, and they could say specific lines. And then the other one's just you're in there, but you're maybe just a background character or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. I know a lot of people do like those options, which is nice.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like if you're gonna do that, you should at least get something, not just, hey, that's me in the background. Not hey, I want to.
Right.
If it's a horror book, I want to be eaten by a zombie or something.
Yes. Give me some action. Make it worth my while.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay, stretch goals.
So yeah, that's the one we just unlocked.
Okay, so you unlock stickers.
Yeah, I'm trying to plan out some more stuff. The next one I'm going to unlock at 1,000. The first one is just the first round of stickers. Again, I use different artists, different takes, and so you kind of get a nice different array of the visuals, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very nice. Okay.
And have you decided what the 1,000 is yet, or not yet?
I got a couple I'm kind of going back and forth on, but like I said, if we hit it, I'll just have to pick one and go with it, and then pick the next one, and then the next stretch goal amount, and then that would just be that one. So
yeah, I know. I don't know if you've ever. We have a gentleman over here that has done basically a Word document in regards to how to set up and run your campaign, which has a lot of good insight. Granted, you're already into it, but if
That's
you were interested for next time, correct. But one of the things that we have found out, and I believe he would agree, that if you have your don't necessarily when you launch say what your goals are, because you do want to see how well everything paces, but it would be nice where you're so close to the 1,000 now that you know what that 1,000 is, because sometimes those little hey, I really want this print, and more people will shout it out to get you to that goal. They're striving to reach it versus we don't know what it's going to be, but maybe we'll like what we get.
Yeah, and like I said, definitely I'm still, even though I've done a few Kickstarter campaigns, when it comes to the actual running of campaigns, I'm still pretty novice at everything.
Yeah.
I've been sending out a lot of feedback to backers on updates and Twitter, hoping to get more of what they want to see for rewards. So, because I've heard some people say they don't want stickers, and then people say, "What? I love stickers." So I'm trying to make it something that's more unique to the people backing, my stuff. So if I get enough people saying, no, we really want, this, I'll work on making that the next reward.
Right.
Sure.
But again, yeah, at some point you just have to pull the trigger and be like, no, these are them.
Sorry, Von Stugel.
Yeah,
everybody picks on Rob, so
yeah, they do.
That's where that is.
But I'll tell you, I've read that document. I'm going to be rereading it, and I've downloaded it for my own use because it's all new to me too, man. I mean, I think that's the thing, is that when we sign up to do a comic, we're not signing up to do the Indiegogo and Kickstarter or whatever. We're trying to actually make the comic book, and so you have to adapt, and you have to wear so many hats, to get this comic book off the ground. And so you're going to learn as you go. And I don't see a problem with that. You know what I mean? I don't expect you to run a perfect campaign. I guess what I'm looking for is a good attitude. You're handling your customers well and answering questions, and you're just, you're enjoying the ride too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, it's definitely fun. And I've told other people too, when it comes to what people want, obviously I'm very open to my
input.
Supporters back. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the ones who are, supporting this, so if you want to see something a little bit different, I'm more than accommodating to adjusting to the people who actually pay me the money to do it. So.
Oh yeah, man. That's the way I feel too. I'm like, look, I'm going to look stupid at times. I'm going to be weak. I'm going to have problems, but I'm going to try to overcome it the best I can and move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Snuggy wants to know if you're going to be on Bancroft.
I don't.
Do you know anything about that?
I don't
know. Do you
know
who Bancroft is? Okay, Michael Bancroft is a creator and basically a YouTube personality within Comicsgate. He definitely has one of the more popular channels, at least in terms of people going there to shill and him accepting, you know, most people to do so. You know, he's pretty accessible, I guess is the word
I've been
that I
watching a few different channels. It might have been one I've been on.
Okay.
I'm open for anybody. So, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where I'm definitely like I said, I didn't even know about Comicsgate until just a few, like right after I launched. And then I was going on shows, people like something about Comicsgate. I'm like, what is that? People are like, you don't know? And I'm like, I'm really out of the loop. I said, I've been kind of doing, you know, I had like a weird year, had COVID, and that put me in the hospital.
Sure.
So I'm out of everything. So I started looking into it, and I'm like, oh, I was like, where have I been?
I'd say don't believe everything you read. Well, I'll just put it that way.
So
but yeah, he's actually Bancroft is probably actually, you know what? I'm plug your ears, Von Stugel. Rob's show with Bancroft is probably my favorite show, but Bancroft's channel is my favorite channel. So if I would definitely look up Michael Bancroft on YouTube. Check out some of his streams if you haven't been there.
Definitely.
But yeah, a lot of people like to go to him. He's really good at, you know, they usually do topic presented shows and then he shills the book. So it's not an hour of shilling. He's on 5 nights a week. The same time, and the consistency is really good because people like that consistency. They can count on being there for that stream. But he's definitely helped fund quite a few books and, you know, give him the Bancroft bump where it's the, you know, the funding increases. It's a fun show, both on the chat and the stream.
Yeah, I definitely look. Like I said, the few people I've been on shows with have been really gracious and introduced me to lots of different people. I've been on a few shows strictly because, you know, people like you guys are saying, "Hey, check this guy out, get him on." So
yeah, if I could sum up Comicsgate, I think that's most of it. You know, there's a lot of good people here. I think they're pretty supportive of each other, and you know, once you're on enough streams and people get to know your name, they're going to check you out. They want to know what you're all about. And it's great. And I've had a really great time with a lot of people on here. So I'm really happy that I've gotten to know what Comicsgate is all about. So it's been a great experience.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I'm on a whole bunch of YouTube videos now. Prior to this, I was only on one really obscure one. You'd have to go dig up somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, man. I hope it really helps you. I mean, you know, my channel is just getting started, so I'm sure we're not going to give you the bump, so to speak. But more eyes, you know, more people. All of us have our own audience, whether it's family members or friends or whoever's showing up. And so, you know, the more you get on, the better it'll be. Definitely.
And it's, I mean, yeah, obviously the bump is, you know, the end goal. But I mean, honestly, for doing these shows, I really just walked away with just knowing so much more about how to set up Indiegogo, things, you know, unfortunately things I should have did, but things I will do, you know, moving forward. And that information is really invaluable. So, I mean, all these shows have been great for that, especially, and just meeting really nice people. So,
yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, we've learned a lot. I mean, I think it took me almost a year before I really was jumping headlong in, like trying to get into streams more and really putting my name out there. So it's taken me quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I try to, like I said, I've been jumping on a few now just to kind of get the flow, and then I try to like at least jump in and engage, and you know that's how I learned about, you know, Crack Pat, things like that. And people are like, oh, what's that joke? And you know, and people are starting to, at least I'm starting to recognize some of the names over and over, and they seem to recognize me, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times it's just big old fun party.
Right. Yep. You get on the right streams, man. It's a great time, and I want ours to get better and better. We're going to be improving, but we just want more and more people to show up and have a great time and hang out. So, and we'll do that sometime. I think once we have some people on to do their comics for a while, I think we may have some hangout streams where we're just chilling with some people that we've had on the show before, you know? So you don't feel like you have to sell anything. You're just on and we're just talking about maybe current stuff, or whatever we feel like we're talking about. So
hey, that's my goal too. Get to the point where it's just like, hey, it's jammed, and I'm They're not. I
Yep.
don't have to be there to sell stuff for them. I'm just there to help out and be fun.
Right. Yes.
Now, where this book is completed, correct?
Yes.
It is. Okay. When are you looking at number 3, or have you started looking at number 3?
So, like I said, this book was finished for the most part before the Kickstarter campaign. I did have to go back and readjust some stuff to the lettering, but that was just my own last-minute tinkering. And so, actually, the PDF file is going to go out for the Kickstarter people. I'm planning on it this coming week. But book 3 is in the works. I've actually written out the next 3 or 4 scripts, I believe it is. I have to go back and look. And then they'll go to my editor for harder edits. Book 3 is kind of in that final process. And then there's already been some planning out of, I kind of storyboard some stuff here and there when I need to. And then my artist has a pretty quick turnaround.
Nice.
Very cool.
So I'm hoping early 2022, we're moving along in that one.
So let me ask, how quick does he turn around?
He's really quick, actually. He's really fast. And I've seen him like send me like the initial sketches and then say, because he used to, at first he sent me the sketches of the page, the pages, and then say, what do you want to change? And I was like, dude, do you, I trust you.
Yeah.
So, because in my
That's
scripts,
cool.
I write out the panels and I'll write out angles and all that kind of good stuff. But I tell him in the end of the day, you're the artist, do what looks best. And
Yeah,
so
right.
at that point he doesn't have to do that anymore. Yeah. So if I really pushed him, he could probably get me several pages a week.
Wow.
If he had no other books on the docket, though. I know right now he's got several books. He's trying to get finished, I think, by the end of this month.
Yeah, I think that's my end goal, is to be able to draw full time like that. I got the old day job going on, so that's not going to happen for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy says the fact that you have an editor already scores extra points in these parts.
Yeah, I was on one of the last
Fantastic.
shows. I was on to say the best advice you ever give somebody who says about writing is like find an editor. If anything, just because you can find grammar, spelling, people fix that, which I need. Mine's atrocious. But somebody who actually give you content editing and actual critiques is invaluable.
Yes.
Because I get too attached to parts and I won't want to remove them.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it sounds
I felt
good
the
the way I want it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do that with the art. I was fighting Kevin on some things, because I'm like, no, I've already drawn it. You can't have it redone. And he's like, what are you talking about? It don't work. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, do you know how long I spent drawing that? So
that's why you gotta do what I do. For those parts I have to remove, I just shove them somewhere like I'm going to use it later. So you find a way to jam that page back in there somehow.
Right.
One day I'll have a whole story mixed up of bits taken out of stuff.
Yeah.
The outtakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because it's an outtake doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it didn't work in that moment. So
yeah, and like I said, a lot of it's just for structure, things like that. So
right.
But yeah, I love having somebody who will actually, because if you ask anybody, if you say, hey, read this, what do you think? I always used to hear back, it's good. I was like, well,
right.
No, that's not helpful. Because if they don't like it, they're not going to say it. So yeah, finding somebody who actually say, now this is terrible, that's helpful. More so than
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of the reasons, we picked Kemosabe was for that. I think he'll be honest. But also, I mean, he's not doing a full-on comprehensive edit, I think. He's going to be more like, he's going to tell us if our story sucks. And I think that if we need some help, then we'll probably go deeper with him. But for the most part, we just want to find out, are we okay where we're at right now? So it's going to have an edit, going on, but it's not going to be like, I think on the second book, it'll be much more comprehensive. That's for sure. So. Yeah.
So you guys actually will write a script, start drawing, but then make edits after the drawing's done?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes what I don't draw a full page. I'll do a rough layout.
Yeah.
So, it's more like, I call it roughs, and we'll thumbnail a lot, and then I'll send him thumbnails, and if I like it, I'll go ahead and rough it, and then I'll say, I thought this would work great. A lot of times I can get him to buy into it, but sometimes I can't.
Yeah, I only once had to go back and be like, oh, I need to redo these pages. But for me, I mean, I don't know your situation. It sounds like that's with your friend. Mine's an outsource, so I'm like, well, I got to pay for that all over again. That's super fun.
Right. Well, yeah, the cool thing about Kevin and I, Murph and I, is that, we live around 30 miles away from each other. So whenever we want to get together, hash some things out, we can get together and have a big summit, and get it all done. So we kind of have a convenience going with that. There's not a lot of like sending back and forth, except, we can do it pretty easily. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, all my artists I've ever worked with are always overseas, so
it's
difficult. Yeah.
It's interesting because I never thought I would go international with this. We actually have, a Brazilian colorist with Dio Lima, and then Kimosabi's in Australia. So I was like, wow, we were actually reaching the four corners of the earth, I think.
It's pretty cool in my first book. Yeah, when I shipped international, it's like, wow, I can't believe something I took part in creating is going somewhere over, somewhere in another part of the world. So
right.
Mostly I'm in some library somewhere. Somebody asked for copies for that. I'm like, sure.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I like that. So I wanted to talk about this character in these panels. He reminds me of a character from the Gangs of New York.
Yeah. So, is it the something Bull or Bill? I can't remember his name now. The Daniel Day-Lewis character.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis's character. Yes, it's something Bill. I can't think of his name, but yes, that is it.
Yeah. So he's kind of our the big bad's enforcer kind of guy.
Okay.
His name isn't revealed yet, so I've just got to give him generic for the moment.
Right.
But yeah, I had an idea of for the most part, when I create a character, I usually know who or what I want him to look like. Usually I use a real life person as a reference. It just helps me to envision him. But with him, I didn't really have anything other than just big and intimidating. And so I kind of gave him to Vaughn and said, he's just, the kind of guy you just see him right away. And, I mess with this guy, I'm dead. And then I just kind of let him create something. And he came back with that. I was like, it's just so different.
Yeah,
especially like the old muscly man. What do you call that? From the with the big weights back in the day kind of thing. That's who it reminds, like that mustache. I'm like, it's just so different. I love it. So
I do like the mustache. It kind of gives him that tough street appeal,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So I was like, I love it. We're going with it. I was like, if you want to draw tattoos every time, you go for it. Because I think one character
I like that.
Yeah, I love tattoos. I mean, I got a whole bunch myself, but I know for artists, they're like, I don't want to have to draw that every time.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, cool, well, let's go with it then. So yeah, So yeah, he kind of shows up a little bit in the first one, and then the very end of the first book, and then now he's starting to become more prominent as the second book, and then you'll learn more about him as the story goes.
Very cool. That's one thing Kevin and I talk about all the time in the story, is that we kind of want a mystery with a lot of characters, not just one character, but we don't want to reveal everything about characters, as we want to do it as we go, not like all of a sudden, here you go, this is this guy's name,
Yeah, I know when I first started, I had a harder time. It's so easy to be like, okay, so this person, and then you give their whole backstory in like one panel.
Yeah,
it's like, well, that's
one swoop.
Nobody talks like that.
Right.
So you have to give little hints and spread it out.
Well, and I think the intriguing thing is to not know the character, and to kind of, follow that character as they develop. And it makes it much more interesting. It lets your imagination kind of run a little more. We've always been in love with characters like Boba Fett and Snake Eyes, and these characters that are mysterious for a long time, and even in some of those stories you never do find out who those people are, until they had to eventually ruin Boba Fett a little bit. But I loved whenever he was mysterious and you never knew what was going on with him. He was just this guy coming to take a bounty on these heroes, which was great.
Yeah, and that's definitely not appreciated enough. And sometimes, like, I definitely like what I'm trying to do with this one is I'm trying to create deep like backgrounds for the characters. So there's you get to understand them. But yeah, with instances like especially this character, like you're saying, sometimes it's good just to not know.
Yeah,
because that's what makes them darker, or that's what makes them more mysterious. That's the fun of them.
Yeah, I mean, Wolverine to me was one of the ultimate characters like that. you didn't understand his full background. You didn't know his full history. You just knew he's kind of part of Weapon X and the X-Men, but what else was he a part of? He could end up in, World War II. He could have been in World War One. Cross paths with, Captain America back in the day. Did he? Did he not? And I love that you could play with his character. And then whenever they did that full reveal for him and did his full backstory, it took something away from him for me. He wasn't as intriguing to me anymore. Let me just put it that way.
It's kind of like when the Phantom Menace came out for me, when they were explaining like midichlorians and the Force. I was like, I didn't actually need to know the origin. People accepted
me too.
I didn't know why.
Exactly.
So.
Lord Crackhead says, mystery is always intriguing. Once the veil is lifted, it loses some of its magic, in my opinion.
Right.
I agree. Totally agree.
Yep.
Yeah. If the fans are already on board and they accept it, they accept that world, you don't need to know the reasoning behind it.
Exactly. Yeah. Write it out, man.
Yeah.
So I think it makes it much more exciting, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm definitely, and like I was saying, when I was talking about, expanding on the villains in this book, but in some cases I didn't need that either. When, like, old slasher movies, you enjoy them because you don't know. So it's definitely good to leave them vague there as well.
I agree.
Actually, it was the print that you were just showing, or the page you were just showing. No, that's okay. That sold me on the book. I really like
this right here.
Nope, the one where she's on the bathroom floor. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That
I
one,
like that too.
Like, there's a whole, I don't know what it is. Like, she's broken, but she's strong, but she's, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah. I really like that.
That page, I think, gets the most responses, like all over the place. Like, some people are like, yeah, that's my Friday night. And some people, have the response of, they feel the pain, things like that. But yeah, this as I tell people, the book itself, it touches on a lot of dark themes, and the characters, I try to keep them as realistic as possible. So I definitely didn't want to, guns a-blazing, one-woman army type thing. I wanted somebody who's, you plausibly, like, think that's a real person that could do those things in real life, which also comes with all the faults and flaws of a real human being.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. It's got an atmosphere to it, and definitely you can see the character come out in that one panel too.
And it's just a great picture too. So
yeah, it is. Very well done. Very well done.
Yeah.
So, do we want to do the trailer? Show the trailer?
Sure, I've even fixed it because I didn't even realize it still said on Kickstarter for, like, everybody's like, it still says on Kickstarter. I'm like, oh shoot. So I fixed it.
I am glad to hear that.
All right. So I think I've shared the audio with this. So give me just a second. I'm going to respond to Kevin.
Tell him he's late.
Yeah, he's very late. I'm gonna go ahead and play this while he's maybe joining in. Maybe whenever it gets over, he'll join in for the last few minutes. So let me see if this works.
You can refresh the campaign.
Oh yeah, good idea, Amanda.
You were only $33 away from 1,000.
Oh, I guess I better make that stretch goal decision quick.
Nice. So how many backers happened since we got you on here? I didn't realize. Did you see the difference?
Yeah,
one.
Hey,
you know what? That's the Murph and Dirk bump right there. We gave you a little bit of a bump, right? No, it's just I don't know what to call it, Amanda.
The Duke, the knockout.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
The Duke.
The Duke out.
Yeah, we got to call it something. We'll come up with something. Don't worry. So let me play this, and please tell me if you can or cannot hear this.
Von Stugel.
In the flash of a gun barrel.
How's that look?
On an empty street.
Okay.
I saw all that I'd ever wanted. All that I'd ever love. All that I was. Taken from me. Murdered in cold blood. They'll beg for death before I'm done. Someone once said, before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves, a warning about how you can destroy yourself seeking satisfaction. That implies you have something to lose. But if you've already lost everything, grab the fucking shovel.
Hello,
Hey,
Kevin.
everybody.
Hey.
I was gonna
How's
say,
it
I'm like, I
going?
don't know if you realize everybody's backstage.
Wait, are we live or are we backstage?
No, we're
We
live.
are live. You're in.
How's it going, Murph?
So, Jim, this is Murph.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, so we just got through the trailer. So I saw you join in right during the trailer, and I thought, great, perfect timing. Although I messed up the trailer at the end, like couldn't get out of it. For some dumb reason, I hit the wrong button. So just the way it goes.
You made it, though.
Yeah, we
Although
made it.
I was excited to see how you edited it. Like, I was wondering if you would just cut the trailer short, and I'm like, no, you can't miss that great sound effect of the shovel digging.
Yes.
I'm like, that is great. I really like your trailer. I think it's really well done.
Thank you.
I like that
do
too.
it. Yeah. I had a guy who does all my graphics and all that stuff. He put it together for me, and then I went out and found a voice actress lady online.
Yeah,
and
she did really well.
yeah, I thought
Yes,
so
she
too.
did.
I really dug her voice, and she did some samples for me or different takes. I'm like, perfect.
Yep.
Nice.
Hired.
Yeah, I would say the shovel digging really, it's a nice touch to the end. So
Yeah, I didn't even notice it still said live on Kickstarter until I think a show or 2 back. Somebody's like, it says Kickstarter. I'm like, oops. And then I don't think it might have been Amanda who said some people might not like that if they're on Indiegogo. I'm like, oh, I guess I should probably change that.
Yeah, I never thought about that. But yeah, hey man, like I said, you're always learning. So,
So it's just one of those things I didn't even, you see it 1,000 times, and after a while you're like, oh yeah, I didn't even know, just totally spaced it.
Right. So I think what I might do, I'll have to stop share, and then if we get back in there and look at it again here in a few minutes, maybe I'll open it back up. So, no, it was great. So, hey, nice of you to join us, Murph.
Sorry, just woke up. I had a medical procedure yesterday, so it messed up my whole yesterday and today. So, but there's worse ways to wake up to things. So, I mean,
Yes.
my cat's not happy because I missed her dinner, so she's just sulking over there, like so.
Oh, she's not giving you hell. She's not raising hell in there.
Oh, she will. Oh, it's gonna be a bad night. Be walking like on my face and stuff because passive aggressive.
Well, you missed our big reveal, man.
Yeah, what was the big reveal? What's going on? What I missed?
Cover. I revealed our new cover to everybody.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yep, I had to go with it.
He couldn't
so you have to watch
himself.
on replay. That's right.
It's funny.
Dude,
when
we're so excited.
He showed me at work through the phone, and I actually gasped when he showed it to me, and he was laughing because I gasped when I saw it because I missed the text, and he's like, "Look at my text," and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, we're getting real excited, man. It's been great. So a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, things are going quick.
Yeah. So I can't believe it. And we've got a lot of people in the chat, which has been really nice.
Oh, hey, Mo Biggs. Yeah, I don't have. Yeah, how many people are in the chat? I don't have anything set up.
Well,
so.
Well, we only have 4 right now, but in the beginning we
Still
had
big.
quite a few. So,
There
Just
was
in
about
case
9
we
or
get
10.
0.
Yeah.
So.
oh yeah. So we're growing. That's what we need. We need some people.
Yeah, no, we've been getting
So.
subscribers and views. Yeah, so we're doing
Yeah, it's been
something
really
right.
cool.
I don't know what it is. So
Probably getting other people on here. They're tired of seeing us, man. That's what it's about. think
I
we
know
get a good
sometimes
get
it's
out of people.
hard. EVS is streaming right now.
Oh yeah, really?
Mhm.
Man,
Yeah.
I saw that we're competing. I guess when we picked the time for this show, we thought, well, nobody's doing Tuesday. Let's get on here. Well, then all of a sudden, people popped up. I know hockey came up with one, and then we saw EVS doing it, and we were like, oh man. So we're competing with some steep competition right now. That's for sure.
You never know. You could always get the rewatches, even if you don't get
Yeah.
them live.
Well, I really want to watch hockey show, and I think
Yeah.
it'd be fun to get on there eventually, of course. But I had fun whenever I watched Shelby doing it. So he's got that kind of game show thing going on, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And it's just with artists, I assume, since you said they do like drawing challenges.
Yep.
Yes.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's really cool to watch them do it, and they're all like insecure because you're just like, oh my gosh, I have to do this in front of all these people on the stream, and so it really puts you on the spot.
I love that about artists. I've been an art group.
Yeah,
You'll go there and they're still like the greatest artist you ever know. Like, that's amazing. Like, no, it's garbage, and they'll get ready to tear it up. You're like, no, let me have it. Don't throw it away.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, I love that. No matter how good you get at something, you're still always just so judgmental of your own work, wanting to get better.
Oh
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah. So, and I still do that. There's stuff that I've thrown away that I probably should have kept.
Yeah,
What's
don't
Mo
get that
saying?
a lot. Just being the writer, it's a lot of. It's like, oh, I don't like this. I'm gonna delete it. And nobody's like, no, wait. It's always
Yeah.
like, okay.
Way easier being a writer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Big says ARO was hanging from the wing of a fighter jet using Rob Arnold's Molotov Meerkat to light his cigarette while the cockpit was full of crack smoke. Oh my gosh.
I'll have to check
That's
out his final product. That sounds interesting.
No doubt. That sounds awesome. I mean, that's like a whole series right there, Mo. You could write a whole comic just on that one panel.
I'm pretty sure Molotov Meerkat is banned from the book.
Oh,
Mo can
really?
confirm that, yeah.
Ooh, why is that?
I'm pretty sure he said it's not happening. So
See-
AR-15 Orangutan is a character that Mo Biggs made up. Basically, he was teasing another comic book creator, and he came up with this really elaborate character and stories, and he keeps talking about how he's going to release it, which, without a cover and a bunch of different things like that. And but it's gotten so much lore behind it that a lot of the chat, and it's got its own fan base now. So it needs to happen.
Yeah,
So.
we need to do something to make it happen because there's too many artists and too many creators getting involved with this to not really have the real deal.
Right.
It's crazy. And some of the artwork that's coming out for ARO is off the chain. Who did the last? Was it for the Mavericks campaign where we saw the last big poster?
Oh
for
yeah,
ARO?
the Bogan. Oh crap, the Bogan.
That was just awesome, man. I mean, I couldn't believe the artwork on that.
Bogan
It was so
Brigade.
fun. Yeah, and the coloring on that was amazing.
I don't know who was the artist that did that, but yeah, the
I don't
Mavericks
either.
campaign had it specifically geared for their Bancroft show run, and
Oh man.
yep,
Too
the
cool.
Bogan Bombardment. There you are.
Bogan Bombardment. Right. Von Stugel says, what about an immediate death scene for the Meerkat? Bogan Bombardment.
This is off topic, but I thought that when talking about hanging out of the plane, when I went to Ohio has an air and NASA museum, and I think it was Russia. I might not be positive, but in World War II, there were female plane, not drivers, but plane, whatever.
Pilots?
Yeah, thank you. Still waking up. They're plane drivers. That's what they say in Russia. So I'm being accurate.
Plane drivers.
They were.
Okay.
It was an all-female. Let's see, plane drivers again. They would literally go over Germany. They would stop their engines so you couldn't hear them, and they would drop bombs as their plane was dropping, not going. Get back in their cockpit and fly again. And I'm like, how is that not a movie? Like there were a bunch of them did that all the time. Like, that's nuts. Awesome. Because to drop the bombs, for some reason, they had to get out of the cockpit and like get on the wing to drop stuff. So they're literally falling while the plane has the engine off, and they're doing stuff like walking and getting back in. That's amazing. That's crazy.
It is. That's pretty cool. I don't know. It must be something that they can't drop the bomb when the engine's off or something. Maybe they don't have control, so they couldn't drop it out of the plane. No, they could.
They did the engines off so they wouldn't be shot down.
I know, but maybe then they couldn't drop the bombs. Maybe that's why they couldn't drop them.
I should know, but I forget.
I don't know either.
It's a museum, and we're in modern times, so you get bored so easy, right?
Yeah, now we call them, instead of pilots, they're called drivers. So.
Funny thing is, if I didn't
just
wake
up, I probably would have
said it too. I probably would have said it too. You're driving a plane, right? Like you got take it off, you got to drive it.
Right, right.
They just want to be snooty because they get to be in the air. That they fly. They're not flying anything. They're not flapping no wings.
Right. Well, Jim, I hope you don't have anywhere to go. We're just kind of hanging a little bit, but if you guys got to go, feel free, man. You feel free.
Well, what did you guys cover? What was?
Well, we went through Jim's campaign and looked over Dig Two Graves. I mean, it looks fantastic. The art looks really great. The colors are great.
Yeah, it does look really good.
Yeah, the story's intriguing. So he's got some good like prints and things like that. So he's got a lot of good things going for it. But Jim's not very familiar with Comicsgate. So Amanda has been giving him like the rundown on the inside jokes, phrases. He's learning about AR-15 orangutan. There's all kinds of things he's learning tonight.
Did you go over all the perks and everything like that with Dig Two Graves? Did you go over everything?
I don't know if we went over each perk.
Well, let's look at the perks then.
There's not a lot of them on this one, so like I said, I kept it pretty bare bones.
Okay.
I've heard though that's good
though.
That's a good thing to do at times. That sometimes.
Let me get it back up here, and we'll.
Let's see.
Yeah, the Kickstarter, I did a ton of like variant covers and stuff, and so I thought I'd try the opposite route and keep things just straight to the point.
How to do on Kickstarter?
It was funded. I think our goal was 4, and we did a little over 5.
Awesome. Yeah, let's see some of the perks.
There you go. So okay.
Yeah, really, it's just the mini poster set and then the cameos. That's all I really added for this one. Or the 2 sets. Sorry, was that? No, I was saying it's just 2 sets. Oh, sorry.
When you did the kit, like, are you out of the covers that you had from Kickstarter, or did you only make them like Kickstarter exclusive?
So yeah, like I was saying earlier, I knew Indiegogo, and I didn't know there was such a fan base for one or the other, and I thought it was more of like a preference. So I wanted to keep them separate because I thought, well, I don't want people who think I'm trying to double dip on them. So I tried to make it as different as possible, so people were thinking that they weren't getting gypped or something like that.
I see.
But now, as I've been discovering just through the course of doing the campaign and different shows and people I spoke with, it's almost like it's 2 completely different audiences. So yeah, I probably could have just offered almost exactly everything I had on the original campaign, and I don't think it would have been too much overlapping, honestly. But I did want to try this one a little bit different. Like I said, just because I had done so many different variants for that one, I wanted to see what just more of a streamlined, this is the book with a few little options, how that would also do.
Yeah, CG actually a couple of weeks ago was kind of having an argument about whether CG should be on Kickstarter because of politics and things, and then
Yep.
Kickstarter kind of made the decision for everybody that Comicsgate ain't gonna be on there. So,
Oh yeah, I got blocked. I was actually one that got blocked. I don't know if you did, but I definitely did.
no, I didn't. I'm more likable. So,
yeah, it's just weird because I'm like, I don't know why I got blocked, except other than I'm Comicsgate. So
yeah,
blockchains are crazy. I just don't get them.
Yep, me either. To me, it just shows who they are. I'm about everybody. I don't care if you're Comicsgate. I'll put your book on here. Of course I want to feature Comicsgate and back those guys, and we have a great community that we're building, but you don't have to be Comicsgate to be on this channel. I'm about everybody, man. I want to support it all. It's just the way I feel.
Art shouldn't be political. Like art is
exactly.
Everyone should enjoy it in the way that they enjoy it. Like,
nice. Well, okay. So we saw you have a PDF.
Nice.
You have graphic novel.
The mini posters. How many are there? Is there 5 or is there more than that? What's a mini poster? How big is it?
I think I forgot the size. I think if you click on its detail, but it's like the 11. Was it like an 8 by 11, whatever that small size is? The bigger size is 11 by 17. I have to.
Oh, okay.
Have to look at the measurements, but yeah. So kind of more of a if you just kind of want like a fun set of that go with it, but not necessarily the 11 by 17s for the wall or something like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So you have the mini poster, and then you have the actual poster, 11 by 17 posters.
Yeah, I call that the Comic-Con staple poster because that's pretty much what everything is at Comic-Con. So, 11 by 17 posters. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, I like that size. It's a great size.
Yeah, like I said, and if those had, if people were like, hey, I really like this, and they want to do like bigger sizes, I might look into that. Moving forward, I love posters. I love the 11 by 17s. I have lots of movie posters up, so I have the big ones up everywhere. So I'm big. My wife hates them, but I like them. So.
And then he has a cameo perk where you can cameo in future Dig 2 Graves.
Oh, that's really cool.
And then the speaking cameo. So, yeah, the two.
So,
with the speaking cameo, does the individual get to kind of give input on what they want to say and do, or no? Is it basically like you're going to be in it, but you'll have a more prominent role?
Yeah, so like I said, when I wrote the next few scripts, I always write a few characters vague, knowing that if somebody picks one of those tiers, I can adjust based on what they want.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so if like somebody's like, hey, I want to get shot, or I want to be a good guy, bad guy, whatever, I can put them in there. And obviously, I can't take exactly what they'd want to say because depending on what they want to say, but if they have something really specific, and I can make that work in the context of what they're doing, the character, then yeah, I have no problem with that.
Sure.
That's awesome. Sure. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, I think that's fun, but yeah, you'd probably have to be careful what they want to say.
Yeah, they want to like break the fourth wall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, we can't do that.
We used to, like I said, I'm part of an art group. We haven't been active, obviously, with COVID, but we used to do this like mystery prize bags at Comic Cons where you get like mini prints, things like that, and there were like we call them like the golden ticket items, and one of them was a poster drawn by one of the artists in the group. You got to pick the artist, and they would draw it. And we're like, cool, people are going to love this. And the first guy who won wanted this crazy, huge, like wall size drawing full of just like the nastiest sex stuff you could with like every character you can imagine. And he wants, and we're like, oh, and he just like listing out all these things. We're like, moving forward, we're like, we got to put like artist discretion on that one.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because the artist is like, this is going to take me weeks to do. And I'm like, oh, we didn't put anything on there though. So live and learn on that one.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I want my ceiling painted, 4 walls.
It was like the amount of characters I think was at like 30 or 40.
Oh my gosh.
They were like at a strip club, but there was like giant orgies and the only one like a lot of anime characters who I didn't know. But I remember like Spawn was doing something nasty on the main stage with some girl. And I was like, this is really going crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's not fun anymore.
I looked around and said, well, if I'm just the writer, sorry guys, and one of you's going to be taking that
luck.
one.
That's something you'd do to me, Kevin.
Yeah. Oh,
Leave me hanging.
I'm definitely thinking of having something like that now.
Oh my gosh, you writers are all alike.
That's when it's great to be a writer. You're like, sorry.
Have you ever done the cameos before in previous books, or is this the first time?
So on the very first, like I explained earlier, there was the first Dig Two Graves was funded, but it was a different artist. And we've had to redo the art team since then. So I went back with my new artist and art team and had to redo book 1. But on that very first campaign, somebody actually did back that tier. And so in the third book, they have a spot coming up. And we weren't able to make it work in the second one, but we did in the third one. But it's been a few years, and they've never responded. But hopefully they're happy when they see it. I did get their pictures when they first that was funded way back in 2018. So.
And again, if you've already said something, just say next question, because I can bring up tons of questions. Like,
well, dude, yeah, we've gone through a lot.
Have the right context, or else it'll sound weird. Like, oh yeah, back in 2018, some guy did, but I haven't done it yet. I just want to make sure it doesn't sound like I'm talking crazy. But yeah, no, I had to redo the first book because, like I said, I love the artist. He was a nice guy, but he would disappear for huge chunks of time, and like 6 months had passed, and he showed up with like 2 pages. I'm like, yeah, these look cool, but I need you to at least tell me what's up. So I had to redo it. And I found Vaughn, who I love he's amazing. He'll respond back. He gets stuff done quickly. And yeah, and I wanted to look consistent. So that's why I was like, well, gotta redo book 1. So nothing like spending more money on something that you thought was done.
Oh, right, man.
Yeah. So
dang.
Good times.
But I think that's cool. Yeah. Cause the consistency does matter. That's one thing we're worried about, is if we hire a second artist, we're talking about actually hiring a second artist to help us get the book out in a faster, time frame. And I think I put it in the last stream was like, would you guys not want to see a new artist on a book, or would you be okay with it? Or would you be okay with even seeing 2 artists on the next book? And I think that's the question for the ages for us, at least, because we'll see how it plays out.
I think every comics fan has dealt with that. You know what I mean? Who's ever, even McFarlane hasn't been the artist for Spawn all those years, or
right. Yeah, but he was on there for a while and then gave it over to somebody else. You know what I mean? He was established before we were. You know what I mean? Or longer than what we would be.
There's always still an artist too, so it's not like it's an unprecedented thing. And depending on your story, it could actually, work in the context of it if the art differs a bit.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's definitely on the table that in order to put the book out, to overcome what we were talking about earlier, waiting a year, like hiring another artist.
Honestly, I think perfect would be if we could do 3 a year, just because that's how they're written. They're written like acts in a movie, so 3 comics are a full story. So, having 3 for 3 years is kind of a long wait.
That's my goal to get. I would like to do 3 a year, unless things obviously picked up, and then I could, push that timetable forward. But I'm looking at Brian Padillo or Ethan Van Sciver kind of numbers at that point. Where you're like, well, hell's bells, I'll get this pumped out once a month at this point.
That's the thing. Yeah, you would have to have enough to sustain your income to be able to draw that. Because I think I could put out a high input if that was my full-time job. I could put a page a day out. And if you think about that, it might take a month and a half or something, just the way life works. But if it only took a month and a half to draw, and then the inking and everything, they don't take as long, then we could probably put books out quicker. But
are you the pencils and inks on this as well, or just
on the first book, I'm going to do the inks. Maybe on the next one, we'll hire the inks out.
That might speed that up for you. We wouldn't need a second artist then if you just do the inker. A good inker too can, I've seen some stuff that was sent to them. It's like, this looks like a really rough sketch, and it turns out amazing. I'm like, man, I didn't realize how much an inker actually did. So.
Oh yeah.
They're just tracers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in my case, I was just a tracer because I detailed my work pretty good with the pencils, but I think you're right. If you get a good inker, you don't have to worry about as much detail sometimes because they can take it over for you, which is really nice. Yeah, it's all been a learning curve for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm
That's
definitely
the
there
thing.
with you.
Yeah.
So, like the first few books I wrote and actually produced, I went back and read them, a while back, because they were like from, like I said, around probably 07, 08, somewhere there. And yeah, it's like, ooh, I would not put this out now. So, always learning.
Oh yeah, I mean, but I like that. I like going back and looking and going, okay, I see where my art's grown and see where we've improved, and it's been pretty cool. I mean, we've learned so many skills and so many things about comics, and not just about comics, but marketing and business and just how.
Taxes.
Oh man, we still have to do all that stuff, get all that set up, you know. So, are you doing that? I saw you were part of, you have Sketchy Nuke Comics. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so it's not so much like an LLC or anything like that. It was mostly just
Okay.
I didn't want to be like, hey, it's comics by Jim Tanner, and people are like, well, who the hell is that? So I kind of just
Right.
created a name, and so originally it was SN Comics. It stood for Some Ninja, and it was based on
Oh,
like an inside joke. And the
okay.
problem was, I'm like, people are going to see Some Ninja, and they're going to be like, it's just some fat guy thinks he's like a ninja in his backyard with like a samurai sword cutting water bottles. So
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
yeah, so I thought either they're going to think I'm one of those really serious wannabe ninja guys, or they're going to assume I'm really jokey. And either way, I didn't like that. So I tried to change it, and I'm like, well, what the
That's
hell else
funny,
starts with
man.
S and N? And then we came up with Sketchy. But yeah, it's literally not so much for a business, just more of a branding.
Okay.
So it seems like it's easier for people to remember that than just who you are, or at least it
Yeah.
sounds a bit
Yeah.
better than comics by some guy you don't know.
Right. Right. Yeah, we've been trying to come up with our brand as well, and we're struggling because we came up with Mysteriarch, which I love that name, but I think there's already a publishing company with that name, if I'm not mistaken. So we may have to give it up.
Oh yeah, there's always. I mean, I thought I was safe with SN Comics. I like search Google. I'm like, I can't find anything. I'm good to go. And then like after I branded everything, and I've been doing stuff for a while. I went to go search something, and I forgot the S, and it brought up gay porn, SN Comic, for some nude comic, and it was about some guys in a comic
Oh.
store. I'm like, of course, one letter off, and it takes you to porn.
I
So
mean, yeah, that's the way of the universe, right?
yeah. So,
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
yeah.
that stinks, man. But I mean, I think it's really cool, man. You get everything together. You looking like you're doing really well.
I appreciate it. I mean, well, as long as it appears that way, I should be doing
Well,
fine.
yeah, dude. I mean, I think you're doing pretty good. I mean, when I was seeing things, there was nothing that stood out in my mind. But Amanda, she gets on a lot more and has backed a lot more books than I have. So she's very very seasoned at looking at campaigns, and she can tell right away, what's working, what's not. So I think it was really cool. She gave you some input.
Yeah, like I
You
said,
still
she's
with
been
us,
awesome.
Amanda?
I am. Sorry, I muted myself because I had to make sure my child was in bed.
Oh, good. Okay. Hadn't heard from you for a while. We just want to make sure everything's okay with you. So
Yeah, no,
cool.
I'm here.
So, like, my goal is if nobody likes the story, I'm going to dazzle them with great art and the colors and everything, so they won't even notice. So I'm like, that's my backup plan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. It looks like you got everything else in order, so that'd be cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I am excited for people to read it. I always do get nervous, but yeah, I think people hopefully will enjoy it.
Great.
I am definitely more of a reader than a appreciator of fine art, so hopefully I really like the story. No pressure though.
Well,
No
great.
pressure.
Let me
there
get
you
back
go,
to
Kevin.
my letter real quick, make some changes real
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
To me, I think
better-
art is one of those things that'll like make me look at something, but story I'll stay for like long haul. Like Walking Dead, great. Art, ugh. A lot of times there's sometimes I don't even know who's doing what with how the art is, how basic it is. But the story's written so well and it's so easy to read. Like you can just go through a chunk of those books. Like you can read 20 of those in like an hour. He writes it so smoothly. But you're right. I think if you get one with comic books, I don't think you have to be, above par on art and story. If you've got at least one, you'll be good. And if you can get both, I think that those are the ones that really hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Like I said, obviously, I wouldn't, but it's like anything. Like you're saying, when you're an artist, you're like, oh, this looks terrible. When you're a writer, you're always like, you still have that in the back of your mind too, like, So, but
Yeah.
I really, so I'm a big fan of like the old like revenge movies, like 70s, 80s.
Kill Bill.
Well, Kill Bill definitely. I reference that because that seems to be the one people know, like, because I'll say stuff like Rolling Thunder, and they're like, "What?" Like, that's an old 70s one. So,
You're right. There isn't a lot of new ones because I was trying to think.
It was definitely late 70s to early 80s. They were doing a lot of revenge movies.
Oh yeah, that was the big one. So
yeah,
and you kind of get those with the westerns. Weren't those a lot of those revenge kind of?
Oh yeah.
As well?
Yep.
Well, the old joke, like, somebody shot my paw, that whole thing, kind of based off of all those stereotypes. But
oh yeah,
yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed just the revenge story in general. I think they're a lot of fun. You can do a lot with the emotions in those. But I definitely wanted to try to make it with a bit of a more of a modern take, because obviously a lot of the 71, especially if it's a female lead, were a lot more sexually violent, and I didn't want that at all as any kind of catalyst. So, but they were so gritty too back then, and you don't see that in a lot of movies now because a lot of stuff's just so formulaic anyway. They don't want to buck the trend, but
nobody's taking a risk anymore, man. That's really what it is.
Quick and the Dead was a revenge. I mean, that's a western, but that's maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think that's like in the 90s at this point. So
yeah.
Wait, what's been? Now I'm trying to think. Like the last 10 years, what's been a revenge movie?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if any stand out. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, the last one. I mean, I know there's been some, but the last one that stands out was like Man on Fire with Denzel. And
maybe.
Kind of, and it's a different type of revenge movie, but yeah. But Kill Bill, is the big one, and since it's a female lead, I have people reference that a lot. And I say, I love Quentin Tarantino. He's a big inspiration to me, but it's definitely not the over-the-top Kill Bill-esque type stuff you saw in that.
Right.
And for that reason too, I didn't want to make Kill Bill and just seem like I'm copying that. So.
Right. Yeah, it's so stylized; it would be easily picked out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good if you're not lifting a lot out of that.
Yeah. No samurai swords, unfortunately, in this one.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to see.
What was that?
I was gonna say they always make every story better. Look at all from the Matrixes, and they still have samurai swords. I mean, come on.
I have an artist who I've worked with on some variant stuff, and he's, I guess, a really big sword guy. He does actual sword fighting practice, whatever. And he's like, man, samurai swords. Everybody wants samurai swords. They're talking about why they're not good for anything. I'm like, I guess they're just really cool. Visually they're more appealing than just a regular old broadsword, I guess. But
right.
But no,
I don't know. I like broadswords better than samurai swords. That's where I'm at.
I think they're cool in general. Yeah.
I'm always against the norm, so what do I know?
Well, I think we can all agree that if you're going to get any sword, it's the lightsaber. I mean, I'm not even a big Star Wars guy, and that's so cool. Coolest thing ever.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I would chop my arm off within 5 seconds of having that.
It's true. Yes, it's true. So many people would.
Know
you
yourself.
Want to thin the herd? Give them a lightsaber. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is,
stupid.
The funny thing is, you drop it, it's gonna go through your floors, and it's just gonna keep going. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like dropping in the ocean, right? It's just gonna go through the ground, and
it's gotta have that auto off switch. Once you let go of it, it turns off real quick.
Right. Well, hey, Jim, I think we're going to look at ending the broadcast here.
We just started
an hour and a half. Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, for about 40 minutes you've been with us. So
I feel great. It's like I just woke up. I got tons of energy.
Oh man.
We had a good one. I'm gonna have trouble getting to sleep tonight now.
Oh yeah. I don't like that.
It's 9:30 here, so I'm this is gonna be difficult.
Yeah. Well, Jim, we thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
Your campaign's looking great, man. So keep it up. Just keep on getting on as many streams as you can, getting your name out there, and
How much time is left on it?
23
Oh, yeah, it
days,
says right there, 23 days.
23
Yeah,
days.
we extended the. I think actually Amanda was the one who, or somebody said you should extend it, so we threw an extra 20 on there. Now that I use we a lot too much, but yeah, now that I know more, and I'm getting more on more shows and all that stuff, so hopefully get more attention to it.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Nice, man.
anything to advertise here? Other shows you're going to go on? Places to see you, things like that? Get the word out?
Oh yeah, I got a few coming up, and I don't know if I have it in front of me or not anymore. But I have a show on the 22nd, I believe, and one next Tuesday.
Your YouTube, or are you going on someone else's?
Oh, I'm all on somebody else's show. I don't have a YouTube channel. Somebody's like, you should do YouTube and Twitch. I'm like, I don't think I got enough content to do that.
Neither do we, man. I mean, we're making it up as we go, to be honest.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing like pop culture and stuff, and I was like, yeah, we can't do that. So that's why I was like, well, we just get our name out there, take a risk, and get your face in front of people. I think that's the most important piece. So,
yeah.
And you know, our channel's finally starting to get a little bit of traction, which is really nice. So,
I said, yeah. I mean, like, I'm happy with everybody who had me on, and if you have one subscriber or a million, it's all good to me, because even one pair of eyes is more than was looking at it beforehand. So,
right.
Yeah. The one on the 22nd is with Dojo. I don't know, what show does he have you on? Is it the co-host one, or is it the what's the other name of their show that they do?
Manifesto.
Yeah.
Is it
I can't think of what
I can't think of it either. I thought it was just with It
is with him and Kay on it.
One?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have two different ones. They have the co-host, which Kevin will run behind the scenes but not on screen, and Dojo B will co-host with somebody, and then they kind of interview, I think, a couple of creators. And I'm thinking that might probably be the one that you're on, Jim. But then they also do another one that it has like a panel of people where they talk about a subject, but I can't think of the name of the show that they.
I can't either, and I've watched it millions of times. I just cannot. Well, not millions, but you know
maybe
what I mean.
it's just the K Manifesto show
like
with
that,
Dojo
like,
B. I think that might be what it is.
That, like
it could be.
Dojo. Yeah, it is something like that.
This one is. It looks like the co-host. I'm looking at the invitation they sent me. So yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I like how you know more about my schedule than I do. I'm like, I got it written down.
Your Indiegogo update.
Right.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. I'm glad I put it somewhere.
That's fun. Well, we appreciate you coming on, Amanda. We will have you on the show anytime. So you drop by, and
well, thank you. I am excited for this campaign, and you know, I know they say that you shouldn't sit there and say, hey, this campaign should be doing better than it is. But, you know, I do wish that more people had eyes on the campaign, because it is something I think that deserves at least a look, you know, whether or not it's not for everybody. But, you know, I think it has a story that is different enough than some things that are out there. The art looks decent enough. You know, hopefully people will find it interesting enough and back it.
That's why Amanda's my favorite.
So I do have a question. You might have answered this already. But with it being a revenge, you can get kind of two different revenge movies, where it's, you know, revenge to put the bad people away, or it's to punish, you know, the bad people, where it's more gore. What is it? Is it more of like a PG-13, everyone can get behind this female, or is it more like a Punisher, where she's going to do justice and it's going to be the most terrible way, but you're going to enjoy it because it's...
So I usually say if it was a movie, it'd be rated R. It does have a lot of violence and darker themes. So book one and starting into book two, the revenge is like the catalyst to the story, but it arcs off into a lot of different storylines, not just our heroes. Because I mean, revenge stories are great, but if it's just, you know, point A, point B, somebody's killed, you kill them, and you know, those are fun, but only for so long. So there's actually going to be a lot going on, not just that she herself, the character, doesn't know what happened. So for her, she's having to solve this, you know, who did this, why, you know, and then like they said, the bad guys, you know, if you want to call them that, they have all their storylines that she's being dragged into this different world and seeing all these things going on. They'll start to get more explored towards the beginning or parts of book 2, and then open up a little bit more in book 3.
Nice.
Very cool.
Well, great. Well, thank you for coming on.
Appreciate
We
it.
thank you so much. Amanda, you helped me. You bailed me out. Saved my
problem.
booty.
Thanks to Mo for
Totally
dropping the links
appreciate it.
in the chat.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Mo.
Yes,
you
thank
did a
you,
great
Mo.
job. So, well, hey, we thank you so much for coming on, and we're going to call it a night. So, thank you, everybody that joined us. Catch us on Twitter. I'm at DRock, and Kevin's at KJMurphy518. And we hope to see you around. Thanks.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.